You're looking at something right now that most people would scroll past without a second thought. A simple black shape, two curved lines. But this symbol has appeared on the walls of ancient Egyptian temples. It was carved into the stone altars of secret societies thousands of years before Freemasonry was even born. It was worn around the necks of pharaohs, not as decoration, but as a declaration of divine power. And today it shows up in places you would never expect, places that make researchers stop cold. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you look at this symbol. And once you know what it means, you will start seeing it everywhere. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel goes where most channels don't. We pull back the curtain on the symbols, the stories, and the hidden meanings that have shaped human civilization from the very beginning. Today we are talking about one of the oldest symbols on Earth, a symbol so powerful that entire empires were built around it, a symbol so controversial that secret societies hid it for centuries, and a symbol so misunderstood that even historians can't fully agree on what it means. So let's begin at the very beginning. Part 1. The origin: Egypt, Aries, and the Ram God. To understand this symbol, you have to go back, way back. We're talking about 3,000 years before Christ, ancient Egypt, the Nile Delta, a city called Mendes. Mendes was not just any city. It was considered one of the most sacred locations in all of Egypt, a place where the divine and the mortal world were believed to touch. And at the center of its worship, a ram. Not just any ram, the Ram God, known in Egyptian as Ba-Neb-Jadet, which translates roughly as the soul of the Lord of Mendes. This god was depicted with enormous, powerful, curling downward horns, and those horns were not just decoration. Those horns formed a specific shape, a shape that looked almost identical to the symbol you are looking at right now. Now here's where it gets interesting. The most powerful pharaohs of ancient Egypt, the ones who conquered empires, they adopted the horns of the ram as their personal insignia. Ramses the Great, Ramses III, Seti I. Notice anything about the name Ramses? Ram-Esses. The name literally begins with ram. These rulers weren't just naming themselves after an animal, they were claiming divine authority, the authority of the ram god himself. And when you see ancient carvings of these pharaohs, look at what is on their heads. Horns, curling horns, the exact same shape. But Egypt was only the beginning, because this symbol didn't stay in Egypt, it traveled. Part 2. The symbol goes global: Greece, Aries, and the Golden Fleece. Across the Mediterranean, in ancient Greece, the ram took on a new form. You might have heard of the myth of the Golden Fleece. It's one of the most famous stories in all of Greek mythology. Jason and the Argonauts sail across treacherous seas, face monsters, outwit gods, all to find the Golden Fleece. But why? What is the Golden Fleece? It was the fleece of a divine winged ram, a creature so sacred that it was the only worthy sacrifice to the gods. And in the Greek Zodiac, the ram became Aries, the first sign of the Zodiac, the sign of beginnings, of raw power, of fire. The word Aries in Latin means ram, and the symbol of Aries? Two curved horns forming a V, the exact same shape. This was not a coincidence. This was a symbol shared across civilizations: Egypt, Greece, Babylon, Persia, all recognizing this shape as representing something fundamental, something about power, something about divinity, something about the hidden force that drives the universe. Now, here is where the story takes a darker turn. Because while empires were using this symbol to claim divine power, secret societies were using it to protect divine knowledge. Part 3. The Freemasons and the hidden king, Hiram Abiff. Most people have heard of the Freemasons. This mysterious brotherhood has been blamed for everything from the French Revolution to the design of Washington, D.C. Whether you believe the conspiracy theories or not, one thing is historically undeniable. The Freemasons have an obsession with a specific figure. His name is Hiram Abiff. In Masonic legend, Hiram Abiff was the master architect of Solomon's Temple, the greatest builder who ever lived. He was murdered because he refused to reveal the secret word of the master mason. And his name? Hiram. Hiram. Scholars who study Freemasonry's deepest symbolism have noted that the ram in Hiram is not accidental. It is a direct link, a coded reference to the ancient ram god tradition that stretches back to Egypt. The Masonic symbol of the Master Mason is associated with the horns of the ram, the symbol of initiation into the highest mysteries. In other words, the symbol you are looking at, two curled horns, a V shape, was considered by the Freemasons to be the symbol of their most secret and most sacred knowledge. Knowledge that was never meant for outsiders. Knowledge that, if you possessed it, meant you had been initiated into something older than civilization itself. But Freemasonry wasn't the only secret society drawn to this symbol, because at the same time, in the world of occult philosophy, this shape was taking on an entirely new and terrifying meaning. Part 4. The Occult. Baphomet, Éliphas Lévi, and the Goat of 1,000 Faces. In 1856, a French occultist named Éliphas Lévi changed everything. He drew a figure that would become one of the most recognizable and most controversial images in Western history. Baphomet. Half man, half animal. Wings spread. A torch burning between two enormous horns. And those horns, curling upward, forming a V. Lévi described the figure as representing the union of opposites, light and dark, male and female, creation and destruction. He called it a symbol not of evil, but of balance. The two horns, he wrote, represented the duality of existence, two opposing forces that could never be separated, forever locked in the shape of that ancient V. Now, here is the crucial point that most people miss. Lévi was not inventing something new. He was reviving something ancient. The V-shaped horns he drew were the same horns worn by the Egyptian pharaohs, the same horns worshipped in Mendes, the same horns that form the Zodiac symbol of Aries, the same horns that the Freemasons encoded in the name of their hidden king. Every culture, every era, every secret society had arrived at the same shape, the same symbol. And they all agreed on one thing. This symbol represented power that ordinary people were not supposed to have. Which raises the obvious question. Why? What is it about this particular shape, two lines curving upward or downward from a central point, that has captivated the most powerful people in human history for thousands of years? Part 5. The deeper meaning. What this symbol actually represents. Here is my theory, and I want you to think about this carefully. Every great civilization, independently, looked at the natural world and saw the ram as the ultimate symbol of one specific quality: strength through humility. Think about a ram, a real ram in the wild. It is humble, it grazes, it follows, it is led by the shepherd. But when threatened, when it needs to assert dominance, it lowers its head. Those horns, that V, points forward like a weapon, and it charges. It does not flinch, it does not hesitate. It commits to the impact completely, even if that impact costs it everything.
The West African Akan people have a symbol called Dwennimmen, literally the horns of a ram. It represents strength with humility, wisdom alongside power. Their proverb says, "It is the heart and not the horns that leads a ram to bully," meaning true power doesn't come from the symbol. It comes from what's inside the one who carries it. And that is what every pharaoh, every Freemason, every occultist throughout history was really claiming when they adopted this symbol. Not darkness, not evil, not supernatural power. They were claiming the willingness to charge forward completely, totally, without holding back, in pursuit of truth, in pursuit of hidden knowledge, in pursuit of initiation. The two horns pointing upward say, "I have raised myself above the ordinary world." The V pointing downward says, "I am ready to descend into the unknown." Both directions, same symbol, same meaning. Part 6. The symbol today, where you might be seeing it. Now here is where this gets personal. Because this symbol didn't stay locked in ancient temples and Masonic lodges, it is everywhere today. Look at rock music culture. The devil horns, two fingers raised in the V shape, is one of the most universally recognized gestures on Earth. Originally a southern Italian folk gesture called mano cornuta, the horned hand, it was used to ward off evil spirits and the evil eye. Ronnie James Dio brought it to heavy metal in the late 1970s, and today, millions of people throw up those horns at concerts without knowing they are performing an ancient protective ritual. Look at corporate logos, brand identities, fashion symbols, military insignia. The double horn V shape appears in hundreds of modern logos, often deliberately chosen by designers who understand the subliminal power it carries. Power, authority, forward momentum, dominance. And look at the symbol we started with, that black shape, two curves, a V. Now that you know what you know, does it look the same as it did 30 minutes ago? Symbols do not have power because they are magical. They have power because of what they make us remember. Every time a pharaoh wore the ram's horns, he was reminding his people and himself of something ancient, something primal, something true. That the greatest force in the universe is not aggression. It is the quiet, humble creature that, when the moment comes, lowers its head, digs in its hooves, and charges without hesitation. That is what this symbol has always meant. And now you know. If this hit different for you, drop a comment below. Tell me what you think this symbol is. Where have you seen it? Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Because this was just the beginning.